So we've been working in Spanish public schools for 5 months now, and we have a combined 10 years of experience working in public schools in the United States. And we've noticed some big differences between Spanish public schools and public schools in the United States.
So remember that this is just our experience. So this year here in Spain, I have been working at a secondary school, which would be equivalent to a middle/high school in the United States. And Mike has been working at a primary or elementary school. And in the United States, it was kind of reversed. I worked at a elementary/middle school, and Mike was working at a high school.
The first big difference we've noticed is that in public schools, they have a religion class or a valores class where they teach religion. A lot of our students told us that they actually teach more values, and as they get older,
then in the high school level or secondary school level, it turns into a more ethics and philosophy class.
Rather than just a religion class.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something that's different because in public schools in the United States, that is something that's not allowed to be taught. So that's a big difference, just having that religion class in school, even though from my experience, religion in the school isn't super prevalent.
I would also say that philosophy in the United States is typically taught more at the college or university level.
And ethics is basically taught at that level too. I don't think there's much teaching of ethics, if at all, in K through 12 public school.
Yeah. So the next biggest difference between schools in the United States and the public schools in Spain is the sharing of kids' grades out loud.
That's a huge difference. I know I noticed that at the primary level as well as you at the secondary level. We both talked about it at home after school, and it's honestly kind of embarrassing for us having both worked in schools because when teachers just share the grades of students out loud, you can see the embarrassment on their faces. As teaching assistants in the schools, I know I feel kind of embarrassed for the students.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that in the United States too, we are always thinking about confidentiality, and it wouldn't even really be allowed to share grades in front of the whole class, so it was just really shocking for me.
Yeah, I know the biggest thing in the United States that I saw with grades being shared out loud was simply having the student's student ID number with potentially the grade next to it in class. That's how it was when I was in school, when you were in school as well.
Yeah.
But just the teacher saying that right out loud, or even at my school, perhaps when students have to say something, like an answer, the teacher will even respond like, no, you have to study more, you haven't studied enough, and just kind of shame the kid outright for not doing it, which isn't every single teacher, but I've seen it enough where I think it's more common here than perhaps in the United States.
Yeah, I would say teachers are much more blunt and maybe straightforward than in the United States.
Another big difference that we've realized in classrooms here, and again, this is specific to our schools, is the amount of technology that's in the class. In the United States, we worked in the district where there were Chromebook carts in almost every single classroom. You used them as part of the class. There was a smart board that was used regularly. Whereas a lot of the schoolwork in my school is just done by paper and pencil with the book. There's not even a Chromebook cart in the school, and there's just a computer lab that's rarely used. And honestly, I think there's only 15 computers and they don't even all work or even all plugged in.
And at my school, we do have a few laptop carts as well as iPads, and we have 3 computer labs that are used for their technology class, or if, for example, a class needed to spend some time working in the computer lab doing research on a paper or something. However, there's definitely not enough for, let's say, 1 laptop per student, and if at any point the school would move to virtual learning, then they would have to join from home with the technology that they have.
And I do know it is a little bit more expected, at least from what I've heard from the staff at my school, that students have some sort of technology at home to be able to do something. I don't know exactly how much technology every student has, but it seems like that's more the assumption that they have that as opposed to the school providing it for them.
Definitely.
It's just something interesting. I know it was a big difference for us, especially going into the classroom here and not having that technology available, not being able to easily do a Kahoot for me in class because students don't have phones at the elementary level, and at the high school level, it's just more difficult without having like Chromebooks there for them to do projects or do research in class.
Yeah. Okay, so the next major difference, and it's a big one, is that there are no code reds in the schools here in Spain.
A code red is what our school district called an active shooter drill. So we don't have to lock the doors, turn off the lights, hide in a classroom, and pretend that someone is coming in the school with a gun to shoot us. That's honestly a huge relief. It's a great thing, it's an amazing thing, and it's really nice just to be able to not have to do a code red every month and to only have to worry about fire drills. One of the other big differences we noticed was the focus on memorization. And this is something we noticed as well as some of our students have told us, and that is that the Spanish system really focuses on memorizing facts. And I've seen that from different teachers at my school. It's just memorizing vocabulary and facts and almost regurgitating them from memorization on the exams and then moving on, as opposed to making sure the students actually understand the work and can use it in a real life scenario.
I will say that at the secondary school level, that some teachers are moving towards more project-based learning and making sure that the students can use their knowledge outside of the classroom, which is good to see.
And some of my students, both in the primary level at 6th grade, as well as private students I teach who are in high school, have told me that basically for the end of the 6th grade year exam, before they go to secondary school, that all the things they memorize are basically right on the exam. So they're memorizing them for a reason, but it's because the government has that exam in place, and then at the high school level for the university exam. So they memorize things just for the exam, but the exams are in place for the government. I know other teachers have told me basically every 4 years the government will change the education laws. So maybe it's just the time we're here, but it's kind of unfortunate coming from being a teacher who likes to do project-based learning and different things that aren't simply memorizing facts to regurgitate on the exam and then forget. I'm sure everyone's done that in school and it's not fun.
So. And you forget it quite easily.
Yeah, so I could ask students about things from the beginning of the year and maybe they could tell me, for example, a sentence that they memorized about it, but they couldn't tell me what its purpose is in life, right, or how they would ever use it outside of just repeating that sentence. Mm-hmm. But again, if that's on the exam, then I guess I kind of understand why they have to teach that way. It's just teaching for the exam, which is unfortunate.
All right, so the last thing on our list of major differences between schools in the United States and in Spain is the behavior. So, like I said, we both work at public schools here in Spain. Also, we worked at public schools in Wisconsin as well. And our schools here, I would say, have overall much better behavior.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think in the classroom, for example, a lot of students are used to just sitting down in rows, being quiet, taking the notes from the teacher, even at the 5th and 6th grade level where I'm at. But that's a big difference than in the US. However, in saying that, one thing that I don't like and that I've noticed is that almost every classroom that I have is set up in just rows, and students generally do individual work. There's not groups or collaboration, which could be a COVID thing. I'm not really sure because we've only been here during the pandemic, and I would hope that that's different where you might have desks in groups of 4, but from what my students have said and what I've heard from other teachers is that's really not the case. They're used to sitting in rows and just doing individual work.
I would say at the secondary level that the students' behavior is appropriate for their age level, very talkative, want to be social with their friends, but it's nothing like the severe behaviors that I saw in the United States.
So those are the main differences that we've noticed within the public schools we're working at in Spain, as well as the public schools we worked at in the United States and the public schools we went to in the United States. There's some good differences, some bad differences, and some just different differences. So if you found this video interesting, make sure to give it a like down below and subscribe. That way you can get notified of any new videos right away about our lives here in Spain, the differences between the United States and Spanish culture, as well as a bunch of local experiences here in Spain. So while you're here, make sure to check out our other videos. We'll see you over there. Bye!